The second book in the trilogy, The Dark Forest. And yet again, I've said this in the Free Body Problem review. This book suffers again from a lot of mumbo jumbo, scientific mumbo jumbo. And I understand why all of this scientific mumbo jumbo exists in this sci-fi trilogy, but it's just too much. It takes me out of the immersion. What we need is more genuine storytelling, and what we need are more human characters instead of, let me give you a description. The Three Body Problem, the first book in this trilogy, and The Dark Forest, the second book, this is what they are. We have incessant, continuous descriptions of technological development and science and scientific investigation and all of these breakthroughs that humanity makes in order to, defend themselves against the Trisolarian Sophons and what have you. And it's just too much. Okay, I'm gonna say this. I didn't say this in my other review of the Three Body Problem. It seems to me that a lot of sci-fi authors, with exceptions, but the majority of them, they are incredibly intelligent, they are innovative, they are imaginative, they have outstanding ideas, okay? They are idea people. They have ideas that transcend the banal. But when it comes to storytelling, basic storytelling, they are absolutely garbage at it. For the most part, there are exceptions. And most of all, they are terrible at writing three-dimensional human characters for me to care about, okay? This is what cripples sci-fi authors to such a crazy extent, okay? They are idea people. They have a scientific mind. They have a tendency for science and thinking and big brain ideas. But when it comes to telling a story that is immersive and captivating, they fail for the most part. The majority of them fail. And when it comes to writing characters that I should care about or hate about, they just fail almost every time. This is the problem with a lot of sci-fi authors, in my humble opinion. I haven't read them all, of course, but it seems from the ones that I have read so far, this seems to be the diagnosis of the illness that they suffer from. And Cixin Liu, the author of The Free Body Problem, suffers from the same illness, okay? All of the characters from the first book they have gone away. Yi Wenji, Wang Miao. The only one that kind of has successfully survived the purge is Dashi, the detective, and even he is just kind of there in the background. He's just a one-dimensional character when it comes to what he provides for the story. I'm glad that he is in this second installment, but I'm just, I want more from him, okay? And now we are dealing with another so-called protagonist, Luo Ji, who is part of the Wall Facer program. We have 4 Wall Facers, and, again, this Wall Facer program is cool, it's neat, I'm invested, okay, I understand. The Wall Facers, they are so confusing and puzzling and bizarre. I like it, I like the idea behind it, but it's just, by the end, the Wall Facers, they don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And okay, it seems that Luo Ji is the actual protagonist so far. I haven't started reading the last book, Death's End, but it seems that he is the proxy protagonist for now. We'll see. And he kind of, he has good parts, of course. I'm actually surprised that the author has put in so much work with Luo Ji because he's not just one-dimensional. Because in the first book, The Three-Body Problem, the characters are just barely there, barely present, and I don't care about them. And unfortunately, as good as he is written, I still don't care about Luo. I don't know what it is. And I would say, so far, two books in, this is my problem. I still don't care about anybody in this book. That being all of the major characters. Okay, the only one that I kind of like is Dashi, the ex-detective, police officer, whatever, but even he is kind of meh. And by the end, he doesn't matter at all. And Luo, despite all of his suffering and despite all of his attempts to save humanity and despite the ordeal that he goes through, I don't know what it is. I don't care. I don't care about the characters and even the story. By this point, I'm just kind of over it. Okay, so I as a reader, I am not that invested. I don't care that humanity will be eliminated by the Trisolarian invasion, and I don't care that the Trisolarians will wipe all of us out, and I don't care that they will take over the Earth. This is how it is. Okay, because, to me at least, these books are not written in a way for me to care. Okay? These books are written in an extremely precise manner. They are more aimed at science, at sterile mentality, at just, we have to do this, we're going to do this, this is how we're going to do it, this is how we did it, and it's just so concise, so mathematical, so systematic, so robotic in a way. It doesn't have really a soul to speak of, in my view. It's a bit too sterile, it's a bit too bland. This is why I really don't care about anything or anyone in these books. Unfortunately, this is and I am not happy because of this, folks. Like I said in my other video, how I got acquainted with the Three-Body Problem is that I stumbled upon videos by Quinn's Ideas, lore and theory videos, and I was hooked. I thought that this was going to be the darkest sci-fi story, the most existential, metaphysical nightmare that has ever been produced. And it isn't so. It isn't so. There are parts in these books that I like. They're good. I like the dread of space. I like the fact that space is likened to this dark forest where every civilization is hiding because they're all hunters, and if they show even a hint of their existence, everybody else is going to eliminate them. You know, I like that. But for the most part, again, it's just, the Sophons have blocked technological advancement, humanity is cooked, and yet humanity is still striving to develop and improve in certain areas. And they do. In this book in particular, after a great crisis, humanity has evolved, developed. They have what it seems to be crazy new technology, but there is one problem with this story. Somehow, 200 years in the future, humanity believes that they are incredibly developed technologically. They think that they have surpassed the Trisolarians in technology, and they think that the Trisolarians are shaking in their boots. Oh boy, right? And the moment I read this, I was just like, oh man, stop the cap, okay? And because of this is some sort of propaganda brainwashing. This is self-imposed brainwashing. The people have deluded themselves with the idea that the Trisolarians actually want to negotiate and they want peace terms because humanity is so advanced all of a sudden. And when I read this, I was just like, oh boy, humanity is cooked. We're doomed, okay? And even more so, because humanity has this superiority complex, they think that, they should be humanitarians and offer the surrendering Trisolarians the political asylum. And they think, okay, we're going to give them Mars, we're going to give them Jupiter, maybe Saturn, Neptune, we're going to have a sort of internment camp on another planet. We got to help these poor Trisolarians. And I was just like, oh boy, humanity's cooked. Humanity is cooked. When I read that, I was just like, yep, it's over. It's over, folks. It's over, right? Basically, get this. Basically, humanity doomed themselves because they were too confident. And this is an extremely important lesson. Okay, if you spot somebody that is way too confident, let me tell you, you gotta be wary of that person, right? So, of course, naturally, when the first Trisolarian probe comes along, it's only one. That single probe called the Droplet just wreaks havoc, destroys a huge portion of the human warships. In like 20 minutes, we have thousands of ships, and this one little object, the Droplet, destroys pretty much almost every ship that humanity has. Of course, humanity seeing this, they just lose their shit, and society falls apart. It's just sad to read. Okay, but I will have to give the author props, because he does something really good here. And a couple of ships survive, and they kind of decide to leave. Okay, they decide to go their separate ways into the deep abyss of space, because they realize that humanity is cooked. And these couple of ships, they start off with, okay, we are the last hope of humanity. We're gonna have to create a new society. And they start off so optimistic. They're just, we are the last hope. And in a matter of, I don't know, hours, days, weeks, all of these people, a couple of thousand people in these ships, they shift instantaneously. They go from being really gun-ho to being extremely depressed, introverted. They lose hope, and they kinda lose all of their bearings. They kind of become defeatists. Okay, they cannot handle the darkness, the never-ending darkness of the cosmos, and so they become paranoid, and they try to kill one another. And I think out of the 5 ships, only 2 ships survive. It's natural selection, survival of the fittest, whatever, and it's good. It's dark. This is humanity, the human condition, human nature in full display. And here is where the author really caught me off guard, surprised me in a way that I never thought it was possible. So for this single moment in the book, I give the author all of his props, because they are extraordinary. Okay? But another problem is, again, the characters. Okay? Let me say something. I still have a serious problem with remembering all of these characters. Mostly because of their names, right? We find out in this book what happens to the sort of protagonist of the first book, Wang Miao, who was the researcher for nanomaterials. In the last book, at the end, he just kind of disappears. And in this book, Dashi, the detective, kind of says, oh yeah, he just lived to be 100, no cap, and that's it, right? And Yi Wenji just disappeared, she died as well. And a lot of the characters that were prominent or secondary characters in the first book, they kind of just disappeared, died off, whatever. We just brushed them aside. And even in this one, other characters from the first book are mentioned, and I was like, wait, who is this? Who is this? Let's see if I can find some of these characters. Like these characters, Yang Jinwen and Miao Fuquan. And Qi Xiaoming. Okay. And Ding Yi. All of these characters are mentioned here and there throughout this book, and every time they are mentioned, folks, with exceptions, but every time they are mentioned, I was just like, wait, who is this again? Who is this again? Who? Huh? Okay. The problem is that the author has failed to produce characters that I care about. Because I do not care about them, because they are not special in any way. They do not stand out. Every time they are mentioned, I'm just like, strangers. I don't know any of these strangers, but I will give the author props again, because he does something amazing with this character, Zhang Beihai. Okay, Zhang Beihai in this book, he is a Chad. Okay, he is something else. Zhang Beihai in this book, he becomes a sort of monster, but the best kind of monster. And how he goes out is still amazing. He is the only character that actually stands out in any way. He is truly amazing in this book in particular, because when he is introduced with his commander Wei Si, I was just like, thinking, yet again, another character that I will not remember, that I do not care about, but I was mistaken. Zhang Beihai is absolutely astonishing in this book, and he deserves all the props, because he is the sole character in these books that truly stand out to me. He stands out to me. And all the things that he does for the greater good of things, some of them extremely bad. He assassinates certain people in a way that's crazy. He shoots meteor bullets in space to kill these people. It's crazy. Okay? And all of the other things that he does. And then the way he goes out is just so heroic and so true to his character. He is truly a wonderful, wonderful character, greatly written. Here is where the author really did a good job. Okay? When it comes to everybody else, I'm not impressed. And the ending of this second book is peculiar, because somehow Luo Ji, our last wall facer, has come up with a strategy by which the Trisolarians are kind of shook. The Trisolarians now, at the end, they kind of want to negotiate peace talks or whatever, and apparently Luo Ji has succeeded. And from what I understand, the Trisolarians, they're not going to invade anymore. That's what I interpreted, right? So we'll see in which direction the last book goes, because I am curious to see what will happen next, given the fact that the Trisolarians will not invade anymore. I'm so curious, because it seems that the technological blockade by the Sophons has been removed. The Trisolarians are kind of going in a different direction. They're not coming to Earth anymore. I'm curious to see what will happen next. It's either gonna be the last book. It's either gonna be a total disappointment, or it will be something close to a masterpiece. We'll see. Depending in which direction the story goes, it will make or break this trilogy of books. But that's about it. If you enjoy this content, if you want to support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. If the link does not work, you can search my name, Griffith Samsara. Thanks for watching. Keep on reading good books. See ya.